Oh, all right. So I just took a bunch of sleep aid and I'm drinking sleepy time tea. So I got to make this quick.
Yoshimitsu, get ready for the next battle.
So I got a question for you guys. Is this Tekken? Is Tekken 8? Are we playing Tekken? Right? I'm hearing from a lot of old heads and a lot of diehards that what we are experiencing now is not Tekken. Heat engagers, the heat burst, and the rage arts, and all that stuff. People are calling it gimmicky. Everybody's got a stance, right? A lot of people are upset at this game. As for me, I don't fucking know. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is my very first Tekken game that I've gotten into, but I feel like I have insight that may help clarify this for a lot of people who may not understand it when we got people saying that this isn't a real Tekken game. So while Tekken 8 was my very first Tekken game, it wasn't my first fighting game. I've been playing fighting games for decades. I know about the fighting game community. I played a lot of locals in games like Mortal Kombat, Marvel vs. Capcom, things like that, right? But I never really dedicated myself to it. I've always understood my place in the fighting game echelon, and it was more like mid to low high tier, right? I wasn't a sub boss or a boss or anything like that, right? But I was better than my friends, and that's all that mattered. But even then, when I was playing those games and I was better than all right at some of these fighting games, I always steered clear of Tekken because I understood, even at that time, that Tekken was a really complicated game. Just looking at the button inputs and the combos and all that stuff, it really fucked me up to see a star in a combo line. So I knew that the kind of people that get good at Tekken were the kind of players that I had no chance against. Because those are the motherfuckers that were dedicating themselves to this game. And for better or for worse, I was more of a casual player. I played a lot, but mostly at home. Right? I never really took the time to lab or anything like that, right? Back in the day, Tekken was this scary monster in the fighting game community, for a lot of casuals at least. And I was always really impressed by people who were good at Tekken. So, fast forward to last year, and I finally made the decision. I was getting pretty good at Mortal Kombat. I was really feeling Dragon Ball Fighters. Dragon Ball Fighters was my jam. So I was already on this fighting game high, and I felt invincible. So in 2024, I made the decision to really jump into Tekken. Tekken 8 was going to be the Tekken that I jump in, that I enter, and that I prove myself into it. And lo and behold, it's just my luck that I decide to get into Tekken in one of the most controversial Tekkens out there. One of the Tekkens out there that a lot of people say really isn't even Tekken anymore. And what do they mean by that? Let's circle back around here. What do they mean by that? Well, you got a lot of these seasoned players pointing things out like heat engagers, heat burst, rage arts. A lot of gimmicks that take away from the complexity of Tekken. And it makes it easier for people to pick up the controller and just do things. And I've seen people say it's masher friendly, and I've seen people say a lot of things about this game. And I think just climbing through the ranks and making it to Tekken King, I think that gives me a lot of insight on all this. And a lot of it, I gotta be honest with you, I 100% agree with. I cannot tell you how infuriating it is to get a raw rage art. It is the worst feeling in the world to fight for that last sliver of health against somebody and have them do something as stupid as raw rage art. I've lost so many so many games to that. And it's a cheap mechanic. Let's get it out there. It's a cheap instant win mechanic when the conditions are right. And the fact that you have it every round, that is a problem. That is a huge problem. Heat I don't know. I don't know about Heat, not so much. But then again, like I said, I can't speak from a Tekken purist standpoint. I can only speak from a person who has been aware of Tekken and from a person who plays a lot of other fighting games, right? But I think Heat Burst is another mechanic that can be taken advantage of, that has been taken advantage of, and really is overabundant in accessibility. And what do I mean by that? So let's look at the Rage Arts. Let's look at the Heat Burst first. Every round you got Heat and you get a Rage Art. Every single round you have two resources available to you. One at any point in the game and the other one at critical health that will really just win you the game. Especially if you're playing as some different, like, specific characters. Their Heat Bursts are so much better than some other characters. And a lot of these Rage Arts will kill you even at healthy health that's not critical, right? And so from that perspective, yeah, you give people easy to win buttons that don't require any discipline to use, and you're going to lower the threshold of competence it takes to play this game. Now, I do think that is by design, though, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And I think it's specifically because the motivation behind making Tekken has changed. It's no longer about making a fighting game player's fighting game. Tekken, the franchise, is not a niche franchise anymore. I don't think Bandai Namco wants it to be a niche market. I think they want it in everybody's hands. They want everybody in the world playing Tekken. They want it showcased at every tournament. They want it on every stream. They want it populating. Not just Tekken 8, but just Tekken in general. Think about how much money it costs them to license these characters to play in these games, right? So they are going all in on this franchise. And so they are going to design it for maximum return. And unfortunately, that entails making this game accessible. Making this franchise accessible. And I hate to say it, but I don't think we're going to get the days of Tekken being dangerous. I don't think we're going to get those days anymore. I don't think people are scared to play Tekken anymore. I think any Yahoo down the street can play Tekken, right? And it's a double-sided sword at this point because, yeah, sure, I'm having fun playing Tekken, for the most part. But at the same time, my initial goal with getting into this game was to have a badge of honor I could wear around the fighting game community. And unfortunately, that badge doesn't mean as much as it used to. When I got Tekken King in Season 1, I was over the moon, right? My very first Tekken game, I'm hitting gold ranks. This is great. But then it hit me in the back of the head. Was this just because Tekken was just too accessible? Right? Is it because Tekken is on easy mode at this point? Are all these veterans and old heads right? Am I not even good at Tekken? So I wanted to prove myself, and I wanted to play players that were good at Tekken. I started to understand that there was a difference between getting good at fighting games and getting good at Tekken. And I wanted to be good at Tekken. I still want to be good at Tekken. And so Season 2 rolls around. And that's my goal, to get Tekken King again. And I push myself, and I push myself, and I get further and further. And I'm actually starting to take the time to learn my character, learn Yoshimitsu, learn his frames, frame traps, frame data, all that kind of stuff. And I made it to Tekken King finally. And so, playing some quick matches, finally ran into some fucking Tekken players. And I have been getting wrecked over and over and over and over again, relentlessly. I've been outplayed, I've been read, I've been treated like a casual in this game. And so I think I'm finally starting to enter that threshold of Tekken players. And I'm starting to really hit that brick wall of knowledge that separates just casual fighting game players like myself and the Tekken players. So that gets me excited, actually. That makes me more excited about this game now that I know those players are out there. Now that I know I'm getting there, I'm getting more excited. So maybe Tekken King is too small of a goal. Maybe Tekken Emperor, Tekken God, Tekken Emperor Supreme, or Tekken God Supreme, right? I am now facing the kind of people I want to play, and I feel like I'm close to being good at a game franchise that I think is still worth being good at. But at the same time, this accessibility stuff really just diminishes it all. You know, I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking about, bro. I came into Tekken 8 to create a name for myself, to establish myself. And it just sucks that it doesn't feel as good as it could have, considering what the Tekken franchise was. But yeah, that's it. That's kind of my rant here. I just kind of want to talk about the state of Tekken. Long story short, this is a completely different Tekken game. I can even tell you that, not even playing the other Tekkens, just from a fighting game standpoint, looking at the mechanics, looking at the ease of access, looking at how anybody can just do whatever the hell they want and fucking 4 times out of 10 eke out a win. There was even that time when Eddie first came out, that guy made it all the way to purple ranks using a script that just hit 1 over and over again. But that's the that's the Tekken we play now. That's the Tekken we have now. This is the price for gaming becoming so popular. This is the price we pay, and I don't think it's going to change. I don't think we're going to go back to the old school Tekken. I don't think we're going to get the dangerous Tekken anymore. It's not going to be intimidating. Tekken isn't going to be where you cut your teeth and you really stand out as a fighting game player. It's just going to be another fighting game. And that kind of sucks.